Welcome to We Love Deck Builders, the podcast dedicated to empowering deck industry pros to construct a thriving business. Join your host, April Edwards, founder of Deck Builder Marketers, as she brings you a cheat sheet of industry secrets and strategies that promise to boost your deck building business. Whether you're a battle-tested pro or just starting your entrepreneurial journey, this podcast is your arsenal for expert insights and actionable advice. So tune in and let's carve a path to business growth, one insight at a time.
Welcome back to We Love Deck Builders, your go-to podcast for mastering the business side of decking. I'm April Edwards, CEO and growth strategist at Deck Builder Marketers, and I'm here to guide you on building the business that you deserve. Today, we are thrilled to have Lainie Sleppin here, National Director of Contractor Development at Moisture Shield, joining us. She is also still on the board with Nadra, right? Still aboard. Okay. She is a renowned. Now, guys, I'm reading this because I feel like I owe so much respect to Lainie that I don't want to get this intro wrong. So, Lainie is a renowned figure in the decking industry, known for her extensive knowledge and hands-on approach that has profoundly impacted many of you listeners. Her dedication to this industry is unparalleled, and her ability to connect with builders nationwide and provide tailored solutions is nothing short of remarkable. In today's episode, we're going to dive deep into exploring the latest trends, business strategies, and the future of the industry. So, whether you are a seasoned deck builder or just starting out, you're in for a treat with Lainie. And might I add, before we get started, Lainie also was highly recognized at this year's Deck Awards ceremony in Clearwater. She received a standing ovation. And so I hope that all of that gets you guys excited for today's episode. There are going to be a lot of juicy nuggets coming from this lady. So I'm very pleased to introduce Lainie today. As I hope I've done a good job with the introduction, we're very honored to have you here.
And I am very humbled by the introduction, April, and I certainly appreciate the opportunity to be here, to talk about a growing and awesome category of building products. So I'm super excited to dive into this with you, have some dialogue about it, what we're seeing, what the trends have been and so forth. So,
yeah, definitely. So I want to start out by just, for anybody that doesn't know you, and actually let me nerd out here for a minute because, there are not that many women in the industry. Now there certainly are, and you've been in the industry for a while, so I'm sure you've seen a lot more women, come about, right? Over the course of the years.
Not a ton. Not
okay.
a ton. I mean, although we're a progressive world, it's still, there's not a lot of women that I meet out there, right? Mm-hmm. So it was a pleasure to connect with you as another female in the business and in the industry, right? To connect some of those dots. So
yeah. So all that to say that, you're kind of like a career crush, for me and probably a lot of other women, in the industry. I hope that one day I can have, as much experience under my belt and have touched as many people as you have. So you've got a wonderful name in the industry, and I look forward to being the same one day, hopefully. So there you go. The secret's out. Career crush.
I like it. I never knew that, so that's cool.
For our listeners that maybe haven't met you before or don't know anything about you, can you just tell us a little bit more about yourself and your experience in the industry and where you're at today?
Sure. So I started in the industry. Actually, and most people don't know this about me. I started with a company called ImproveNet that was a lead referral business, similar to that of Service Magic, that was selling contractor leads to the contractors. And from there, that company kind of just extinguished over time because the lead fees were not supportive enough of the business. So I went from there into decking manufacturing. And it was actually back in the day, Monster was a big ad placement for career opportunities. So I applied as a representative for one of the major manufacturers. And so the career began. And so I worked for this manufacturer for quite a number of years. And during that time, what I can tell you is, again, you mentioned it, April, being a woman in the business, right? I really had to create some credibility behind my name.
Mm-hmm.
I was in my mid-20s, just a few years younger than now. I was in my mid-20s, and I had to prove that I knew a thing or two about deck building.
Mm-hmm.
So I got my hands dirty. I spent a lot of time in the field. I devoted a part of myself to just learning everything I could, up, down, left, right, about deck building.
Mm-hmm.
Because if somebody asked me a question, I wanted to be able to answer it and create value behind my name. So that started early on. In between there, I worked in distribution for two different distribution companies as a deck specialist. Then I got back into manufacturing, and I joined Oldcastle about 4.5 years ago. And, what attracted me to this company is, unlike any other decking manufacturer, we really own the backyard by having a plethora of products, whether tying in the paver products, the outdoor kitchens, the decking, the railing, the fencing. It's, you name it, we have it for that backyard, right? And so it's kind of a unique position to be in, and very exciting. So,
Awesome.
yeah, so 20 plus years experience. And, I call myself the walking encyclopedia of decking because there's a whole lot of information in between my ears that unless you're asking me it, I don't even know it's there.
Yeah.
And, I've lived through the generational changes of decking that were complicated in the beginning. I mean, people thought composite decking was maintenance free. They never had to do anything. It's like, oh, I'm never going to take my car to the car wash. They didn't realize they had to wash their deck, keep it nice, keep it clean. And through the generational changes, capped composites came out with fade and stain warranties, PVCs with advancements and so forth. So the industry has changed a lot from the 20 plus years ago when I started.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Right. The generations have changed.
Mm-hmm. That's a good segue, but before I get there, for any of the listeners, I think that we all have to team up and we have to come up with a better tagline for Lainie, like deck guru or queen of decking or something like that. So hit me up on Instagram or Facebook and let me know what we should crown her as. So the segue would be, where do you really see the industry going? Maybe talk a little bit more about how things have changed since perhaps COVID and really where you see things going this year.
So, I mean, COVID brought decking out of the shadows like no other building product, right? Everybody wanted to be outside. Our new tagline for Barrett this year is live well outside, right? Everybody kind of wants to congregate on an outdoor living deck, patio, whatever that might look like. So the opportunity of being outside with your friends, with your families, it just continues to grow with great momentum.
Yeah.
The other part of that is, so interestingly enough, we have a fairly large, substantial show called the Mott's Show. John Lee from Deck South and I did a presentation about the biophilic design of deck building and how that improves people's health. And people today are talking a lot more about health aspects than they are ever before. So it's a totally different way of looking at it. And I think as those trends continue to increase, we will see increased momentum in outdoor living, across the board.
Mm-hmm. I'm not familiar with that term, and I just heard that term for the first time at the Deck Awards. So it was really great this year. Now, look, I'm not going to lie. I mean, I wish that they had the Beach Olympics, but the roundtables were awesome. And did you participate in the roundtables?
I did, yes.
Okay. So that was, it was really great. It was awesome to be paired with different builders at different levels in their career, and then also manufacturers at the same table, just having topics presented that we all just kind of got to shoot the shit about, Yep. And one of them was just innovation and really where you see things going. And that was a term I learned that day. I didn't know about it. Like I've heard about forest bathing and these types of things. And I know I personally am an outdoor enthusiast. So it's just very natural for me to know that if I'm going to stay sane, I need to be outside. But I think that it was a really great conversation to have. And for me, as a marketer, I'm always thinking of creative ways to position things and inspire and engage people to want to, build an outdoor living space and invest, $50,000 to $200,000 in a space outdoors. And, I'd like to challenge the listeners here today to come up, like, you guys don't just build decks, you build experiences. Mm-hmm. And if you can kind of have the space and the mindset to think a little bit more creatively in the way that you position your business, I think that you'll be able to help a lot more people have a healthier life being outside, and of course, increase your business. So anyway, a little bit of a tangent there, but just wanted to share that experience that I had at the Deck Awards.
And it's interesting, right? I used to laugh and say, it's decking. We're not saving lives. But I kind of retracted that statement when I started looking into the biophilic design. Mm-hmm. And it kind of is, right? And that is just a very unique way of looking at this. Yeah. Right? People spending more time together, more time outside, more time in the elements. Mm-hmm. I'm an outdoor enthusiast as well, where if I can ground myself, of course, outside, I want to try to do those things, right? And this is what promotes that type of environment, right? Is mm-hmm. the outdoor living space. So live well outside. I was totally aligned with, Barrett when we came out with that. I said, mm-hmm. Yeah, that strikes a chord for me.
Yeah, no, that's good. I love it. And that's, this is the passion that, we all bring to the industry, as being able to think of things not at surface level, but, the deeper impact that it makes. And so I love that. And yep, really, really good stuff. Were there any other takeaways that you got from those roundtables since that came up?
I mean, we know that there's no secret in the fact that people are struggling with labor.
Yeah.
And that seemed to resonate with everybody at the roundtable I was at, that, mm-hmm. labor is complicated these days. They can't find people that kind of want to work, or if they do, they want absorbent amounts of money. Mm-hmm. They stay for a short period of time. They try to go out and build, do their own business. So that seemed to be one thing that I heard from everybody was, the labor issue. And, mm-hmm. and I think, there are vocational opportunities to go to some of the VOTech schools, but life has changed, right? Everything mm-hmm. It's not what it used to be, right? Where people were more hands-on. I think now everything is, computer, it's more text, it's more email. So getting those people to work in the field is not as easy.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Right? And I think that we'll continue to see that trend with the generational changes as we move forward, Yeah. And I think it's a struggle, right? Mm-hmm. I talk to a lot of deck builders, like, what is your succession plan? Like, if they don't have any, children in the business, it's like, wow, yeah, I don't mm-hmm. know, and I haven't thought about it, right? Mm-hmm. And mm-hmm. it's kind of a scary place to be, right? And where do you go from there, right?
Yeah.
But I think the labor point was probably one of the biggest, topics of conversation at the round table I was at.
Yeah. Well, I've got a couple of things to say about that. And the first is, I think it's hard growing a business, and that you can do things faster than anybody or better than anybody. And then to have to slow down and create standard operating procedures and train other people up. It's a frustrating thing. I know, my uncle, he's he's good at anything. He can build you whatever you want. He has absolutely no desire to train anybody to take over, and he's getting sore. His knees are, I don't know how much longer he's going to do it. I'm always asking him, I'm like, Uncle Jero, what are you going to do, man?
Right. What is your succession plan? Right.
Yeah. But yeah. And then as far as, building up a team, this is a conversation that I definitely find myself having a lot more frequently. My philosophy is, always be recruiting. And that's because I want to have the best talent in my team to produce the best product. And I know that's the same with everyone else. So, of course, I'm biased, like I believe in marketing. We do all this nerdy digital stuff, but really promoting and I think really understanding what your culture is, your mission and your core values, and then promoting that in a way like don't just promote your deck projects online, but promote like the awesome things that you guys do as a community that will make people want to be a part of that. And I think that a lot of kids these days, they're really looking for, not like a pension plan, but to really enjoy their life now. And so if you can position things in a way that will attract people to want to be a part of that now, then, easier said than done, but, definitely worth considering.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And, it's a hard pivot point for these guys to work on the business and not work in the business, right?
Mm-hmm.
I have that. That is one thing I'm always talking to these contractors about is, at some point if you want to grow your business, you need to work on the business, not in the business, right? Which means, to your point, April, delegating, being able to do that sort of, positioning of your crews.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yep. And you need this space. I mean, I went to art school and, like I couldn't do a painting or draw anything unless, I was in the right mindset. And it's really hard to be in the right mindset to think high level and creatively when like you're wearing 8 hats, I mean, I went through this myself. I needed to move some people around in my team last year and I had to take over doing some strategy for the company and, for our clients. And it was a lot,
Right.
like I wasn't able to focus on growing the business and building relationships and things like that because I had my head down and, man, it feels really good to be back in the right seat again. I'll tell you that.
100%. Totally agree.
Mm-hmm. So apart from the labor shortage, from a business perspective, are there any other challenges that you see a lot of these guys face? By the way, Lainie travels the country. She meets with a ton of people in person. She's got a million relationships. That's why I was like, if you guys don't know who she is, I'm going to give you the pitch, but definitely make sure that you follow her. And I'm sure a lot of you guys have shook her hand. So in all of your travels and conversations, is there anything else standing out that you think would be important to our listeners to just kind of hear? Not that misery loves company, but it is kind of nice to know what other people are going through.
Well, I think, so the one thing I do is when I meet with deck builders, a lot of times I will go to their website. I'm noticing that not everybody updates their websites, right? Mm-hmm. And so keeping that current, super important, right? Mm-hmm. The way people shop today is they are going to go to your website, right? Mm-hmm. They're going to look at your social media page. Mm-hmm. They're going to dig out content. They want to know who they're doing business with. And not everybody, number one, keeps their websites current. And number two is even on social media.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And some of that I can appreciate from a personal standpoint, but I think from a business standpoint, it's super important in today's world, right? To have that market presence out there.
Yeah.
And I'm not sure that unless they have somebody kind of segregated to do that type of content, they don't know how to do it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Right. So I do see those struggles. Those are real struggles by a lot of people. And listen, if it's a picture of yourself and a deck you're building, I mean, get anything out there is my suggestion, right? Just to start to build your own brand. I mean, why am I in the position I'm in? Because I worked really hard on building my own brand over the last, 20 plus years.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Right? And the same would be true of any deck builder, outdoor living expert, to build their brand.
Yeah.
Right. But I think some of these guys do struggle with it, and I can appreciate that.
Yeah. Yeah, I think maybe what you're trying to say too is like there's kind of a level of pride in having a business built off of referrals alone.
Yes.
I mean, there really is. And you should be proud of that because you freaking work your butt off, blood, sweat, and tears to always provide the best, product and service out there and to stay innovative with your materials and all of those things. But there comes a point where these smaller guys are coming in. And I think that in different markets that happened during COVID, where general, contractors started doing decks, or new people came in and they were underbidding. And so, you kind of want to be one step ahead of everyone. And if you're showcasing your amazing work on a regular basis, you're providing, you're building a brand, and you're positioning yourself as the expert and the go-to person versus somebody that's just, going for price. And referrals aren't consistent. They're just not. And so if you have bigger goals in your business, like you need to work towards it. And what are those goals? I mean, obviously everyone wants to make money. It could be not wearing 8 hats and building up a crew so that, in a team, a project manager, sales rep, all of these things, so that you could actually be an investor in your business, or it could be building a legacy for yourself and, handing things off to your kiddos, or building a business, that's got multiple locations that you end up selling and, having a retirement from that. So it's good to kind of know what your end goal is and start working on it now. And I always leave this podcast, and I think I even say it in my column in the Deck Specialist magazine, just keep moving forward. So
Right.
to piggyback off of what you said, like, don't overthink it, like just do something and
Right.
get it out there and be consistent. Sometimes I feel like I'm a marketing motivator. I used to have that on my old website, like, we're here to do all this stuff for you, but sometimes we just motivate you too.
Maybe
And
that's
that's it.
my new title. Maybe I'm a decking motivator.
Yeah, here we go, guys. I hope that everyone's coming up with some creative ideas.
But it's true. I mean, so many of these guys, like you said, April, I mean, they're like, oh, I have referrals until whenever. But you still have to be, like you said, one step ahead in filling that pipeline, right?
Mhm.
Don't rest on your laurels. I mean, that's like, no matter how hard it is, you got to keep going, right? You got to keep marketing, you got to keep branding.
Yeah, for sure. What do you have, I guess, any advice for a newcomer in the industry?
So, listen, you brought it up before, NADRA. Great networking opportunity to surround yourself with seasoned veterans in the business. I don't think that anybody would be shy in sharing their successes and how they've gotten there. And nobody needs to recreate the wheel, nor feel like they're alone on an island. When we have great communities within NADRA, right? Where I'm one of the things that I do is I'm a big facilitator, right? I connect the dots, right? So somebody I was talking to earlier said, hey, can you give me some advice on a showroom? And I connected him with another person that has another showroom. So I do a lot of that in my career, right? Like I connect this one to that one. And that's what I would say for anybody new in the industry is, get connected with some of the NADRA people, come to any events that are available. Like you said, April, we just had the one in January down in Florida. But there's the leaderboard that they have, right? The community board. There are many, many groups on Facebook where
So
you can
many.
connect with these guys. I mean, again, there's no reason to feel we have so many tools and advantages at our fingertips. To feel alone would be, playing a victim role, in my opinion, without reaching out to make yourself better.
Yeah, so good. And what a difference too. I mean, I could speak to that just in my career. I mean, I used to do everything. I used to wear all the hats. And if there was, being in a technical type of field like ours, where we're not in control of Google and Facebook, and I used to do flash animation and all this stuff, like, you get to a point where, like, you don't really know what to do. You're banging your head on the table. And boy, is it so nice if you have a problem with something to just post something on in a Facebook group, and a million other people have been through that before and can help you through that problem. And I am just really, I'll continue to say, I'm really impressed with this industry. I went all in. Nobody knew who I was. I didn't have anything to do with any of this. I just really liked my deck builder clients. And it was a leap of faith. And I just continue to be really impressed and amazed with the community. So great recommendation. Tap into your resources. You're not alone. There's definitely join NADRA. It's NADRA. Did I say that right? NADRA. .org. And
Yeah.
and they have a connect platform, basically kind of like their own social media platform, which is really nice because it's only members of the community. And then there's so many Facebook groups, you guys. Of course, we have one, the Deck Builder Marketing Mastermind, but there's a ton of groups on there for people that are just starting out, and learning how to build decks, to seasoned vets and everything in between. So many resources to take advantage of. I think that's a positive with the internet, right?
100%. I mean, we didn't have that 20 plus years ago, right? I mean, I had the old, I want to say it was a Randall map that I used to have to flip the pages open and create my routes.
Yeah.
Right? Because we didn't have GPSs. When the first Garmin came out, I was ecstatic. I was like, oh my God, this is like unbelievable.
Yeah.
As the internet developed, it was so cool.
Yeah.
Right. And we have so many of these opportunities, right, to reach out to each other, to be better as an industry, to continue to grow. Yeah. And I think everybody's caring. And I think, it's really it's a great industry to be a part of, in my opinion.
Yeah. And I mean, shoot, if you have any type of an idea, you could shoot it off to the team at Nadra, and they'll definitely look into it. It's pretty cool. So do you, what about for the old timers, people that have been in the industry for a while? Would you have any advice for them to, take their business to the next level? Or,
I mean, I always say get involved, right? And giving back, right? Mm-hmm. You've had a healthy career, off the industry. And I think it's really nice to lend a hand to other people that might be starting out. So it just depends where they are in their career path, I guess, right? Mm-hmm. And a lot of those guys do that, right? Mm-hmm. I see them offering suggestions, lending a hand. They're all very happy to get a phone call and discuss different topics, mm-hmm. right? Nobody's ever picked up the phone on the other end with me and said, hey, go away, I'm not interested in talking to you, right? Mm-hmm. And these are very seasoned veterans in the business.
Yeah.
Right. So I think they're, and I don't know, old timers. I mean, the business is not, when I think back 20 something years ago, deck builders, the whole decking category was just emerging, right? It wasn't like, electricians, plumbers, all those different segments of the industry, have been out for, I don't know, as long as I've been around. But, that whole decking specific industry kind of cultivated over the last, 20 plus years, mm-hmm. right? You look at when I first started, there was a handful of deck builders. Now there's a lot more deck builders, right? Because they're industry specific. Mm-hmm. Because everybody said, oh, you can't be just a deck builder because you'll never survive, right? And that was something that I heard a lot of when I first came into the business. I can only build decks in the summer because that's when I can, generate some income. And then they started realizing, wow, this is more than just a seasonal business.
Yeah.
And that continued to grow, right? And so today, so when we talk about old timers, I mean, it's still, it's not that old, no matter what, right? Mm-hmm. Because again, deck builders only kind of, emerged over the last, 20, 25 years, mm-hmm. and, like we used to say, like, if you have an eye problem, you go to an eye doctor, right? If you want a deck done, you go to a deck builder. I mean, it's kind of makes sense, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It's made a great industry path for a lot of people. And that's wonderful,
Yeah. I love it. Giving back. And I think that we owe it to each and every one of, I mean, I say us, I mean, you're more on the inside of the industry. I mean, I Deck Builder Marketers helps from a business standpoint, but in terms of like setting standards, I think it's important that you do continue to build those relationships and connect with other people and share ideas to set those standards. I know that in my field in marketing, I mean, there are so many people that it's pretty wild. I mean, my industry is still pretty new, honestly. And it's pretty crazy when somebody comes in and they're like, oh, yeah, I mean, we'll do all this SEO stuff for you for, $250 a month. And it's like, guys, like, you can't do anything for that, like you're setting the wrong expectation. And so, same with the old timers out there in terms of like, really taking some time to educate some people that have questions, about how to approach things is important to set the right expectation. Because then what was the term that came up at Deck Expo? It was de-educating prospects.
Wow.
Right? Isn't that good? Like
That
then you
is
can
great.
spend less time de-educating people that come to you about misconceptions that they learned in their
Right.
Google search.
Right. That's true. It's very true. It's a good term. I might use that.
Yeah. Yeah. And of course, again, I'm biased on that. I say be the authority, talk about these things that people are asking, have content on your site that talks about, why you want to hire a deck builder instead of a general contractor, and why the price of your project shouldn't be $10,000 and it should be $30,000, and things like that, so that they're already primed.
Exactly.
De-educated. I like that.
De-educated. I like that too. I might have to use that.
Yeah, it's good. Okay, well, tell us a little bit more about just working with manufacturers in general. I know that a lot of manufacturers have great partnerships, VIP programs and contractor programs. I have the luxury of speaking with all kinds of different manufacturers whenever I go to any of these events, and I know that everybody does things a little bit differently. But I do know that you guys have some great resources and stuff available to really help these guys be more successful. I mean, it's really a win-win for everybody. So, yeah, I'm just kind of interested to know your take on that as a whole. And then, if you want to kind of educate our listeners on what Moisture Shield has happening, that'd be amazing.
Well, thank you. So yeah, I mean, I think being visible on the manufacturer's websites is super important. I think that it gives the builder credibility, right? With that product.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what I'll say generically.
Yeah.
So on the Moisture Shield side, we have what's called our MVP partner program. And that, again, gives them access to getting listed on our website, things like labor warranties and such.
Mm-hmm.
We will be pivoting from a contractor rewards program, which will be an MVP contractor rewards program that will be pretty enticing because it will include all those backyard products. So it will be inclusive of products like BelleGuard, Beretta Outdoor Living, Moisture Shield, Duralife, and so forth. So be the first time that really somebody's really captured that whole outdoor living space and putting together a rewards program for that. And that's the uniqueness of Oldcastle APG, right? Is owning that backyard.
Yeah, that's really cool. And definitely promote the different materials and manufacturers that you use on your website. Because sometimes, people search in their research, they're searching for a particular product, and if you are somebody that carries that, they're going to be more apt to give you a call versus someone else.
The other opportunity that exists with manufacturers, like we're always looking to utilize PR opportunities, right? So in Deck Specialists, we talked about, our Cool Deck product around pools. And so, we talked to a number of different deck builders that, support our products around pools. And so we're always looking for different opportunities to capture with any type of PR that creates some uniqueness and creates some educational opportunities out in the marketplace. So that's another place you can, really utilize your manufacturers, right? Like if you're doing something that's really over the top, I mean, you should let them know, right? So they can capitalize on that. I mean, that's to everybody's benefit. And that's great advertising for everybody.
Yeah. What awards did you guys win this year? You got a handful, I know.
We did. I don't have them written down here in front of me, but we did have, I know we won one with John Lee from Deck South. We won one with Charles Chad from Decks Unlimited. There were a handful that we were recognized for.
Yep.
So
You got your workout going up on stage.
I did, and I almost tripped the one time going up the
Oh,
stairs. So I wore a higher heel than normal. If you know anything about me, I don't really wear many high heels. So
yeah.
that was quite interesting, but always great to be recognized among our peers.
Yeah, it was a good time. Yeah, I'm a flip-flops, Vans, tennis shoe type of gal myself.
Yeah, exactly. I was like, oof. So the normal gal, they'd be fine. To me, they were a little bit steep. But
I did not catch that.
Okay, good. I'm glad. There's no bloopers reel.
That's great. You should have that for sure.
Yeah, great. Yeah, don't give them any ideas.
All right. Well, is there anything you'd like to share that, you've already kind of shared a lot. I think it's so exciting to really be tackling the whole outdoor living space with the breadth of products that you guys offer. Is there anything else in store for you guys this year?
Oh, there's always a ton in store for us. And, we'll be launching an InstaDeck board that will be marrying up with the same millimeter of pavers. So it'll be, so you can interchange pavers and decking as one solution. So that'll be visible at the IBS show, as well as our Stratus board, which will be a PVC 1-inch profile that will span 24 inches on center. That'll be launched in specific markets in the Northeast and I believe Michigan. So we do have some new innovative things coming to market, and that PVC board will be a cool deck technology board in 3 colors. So, we continue to innovate outside the box, which is always exciting. The InstaDeck, I think, for applications such as rooftop decks or we were talking about it the other day, and we said, so if somebody has a camper and they want to go out and they want to create a little deck outside their camper, they can put down the InstaDeck, put down some decking, create a little area for themselves, and then pull it up when they leave.
Yeah.
Kind of cool. I was like,
I would use that.
Right.
Yeah.
I'm thinking if I go to the park and I want to create like a little area for myself, it's outside the box, and that's what we keep doing is we're innovating, right? We're looking at things a little bit differently, which is exciting.
Yeah. Man, you're getting me excited for camping. When you go, so we've got this big rug that we use when we go camping in our motorhome, and it's such a pain in the ass to use because you got to clean it on both sides. It's like, if I could put up some decking real quick, I'd really feel at home. I'll tell you that.
Yep. So these are going to be 2x2 panels that are going to snap together, and the decking snaps right on top of it. You're pulling out with your camper, you pull it up and pack it back in your camper, and you move on.
Yeah. Pretty cool.
Yeah. So we have a lot of exciting things happening.
So make sure that you go to the shows, guys. Stay active in the community. Make sure that you're, seeing the latest and greatest at these things. There's definitely some energy that happens when you go to these in-person events, and I know it could seem, like an expense, but I think that in a lot of ways, even if you could bring your team to some of these different shows, it really increases morale, and it's just nice to see the innovations that are happening. And as with any business, continue to build those relationships. Lainie's a really great model of that. I think, you'll be able to just kind of stay in tune with what's going on and keep innovating and moving forward. So it's been so nice having you today. I do want to leave it open. If you had any words of wisdom or any last thoughts for our audience before we part ways.
So I would say if I can help anybody out there in the business, please feel free to reach out to me. I'm on LinkedIn under Lainie Sleppin. I'm always happy to help, right? And you can't keep it if you don't give it away, right? So I've devoted a a lot of care into this business, right? And everybody knows that about myself, right? Like, I'm here to help people, right? Successful people want other people to surround themselves with success, right? So I want to create success with anybody that I can help, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so I've always positioned myself like that, and people will continue to. I get calls about products that I might have sold 10 years ago, but people know that, like, I'm going to pick up the phone, and if I don't have the answer, I'm going to work real hard to get them the answer,
Mm-hmm.
right? And I am a resource for people. So what I would say is, if I can be a resource to anybody, help anybody out there, feel free to hit me up on LinkedIn, and I'm very responsive to making sure I take the time to, devote some attention to people that need the help, right? And I appreciate that opportunity always, right? Because we help one another.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Spread the love, everyone.
Absolutely.
So you're in New Jersey, right?
I am in North Jersey, correct?
Okay. And you actually you had something to do with starting the chapter out there, right?
Correct.
Right.
It was a handful of us, and starting the NADRA chapter is, and that was not an easy task by any stretch. I could tell you some of the builders looked at me and said, I'm not going there, and I'm not sharing any secrets with anybody. Until they realized that these guys are my friends, and if we're all kind of competing at that higher level, it makes a lot of sense, right? They're competing with people that are people similar to themselves. And that raises the bar overall in the industry. Yes. And that's what we're all looking to do, right? Is it fair to lose a project to somebody that doesn't have insurance, or, is not, at that same level? That's not really fair, right? And look, life is not fair. So I'm not saying that by any stretch of the imagination. But, I think at least NADRA gives us the platform to try to achieve those things in the market. And so, to your point, yes, I started the New Jersey chapter. It took a lot of work, and it was thanks to many wonderful people that are in the industry today. People like us, Robert, Sean, the Steadfast, Gary, my good friend Jen Sheridan. So we all banded together and really made it happen. And it became kind of a competitive landscape between us and Atlanta, and who was the better chapter. So we'd always say
that drives forward motion.
Exactly. New Jersey in the house, right? So we'd all be pumped up. But it's great. And we still have regional meetings in New Jersey. So we still are active, right? Yep. And so I always tell everybody, like, look, if you can make it to a meeting, it's well worth it. Right? Yeah. Just for the camaraderie and the community of getting everybody in one spot. And the energy is like, I'm very sensitive to energy, right? But it's like, really, it's great energy from everybody, right? Yeah. And it's competitors all in the same room. Like, listen, we're all here to better the industry. It's not about, hey, I'm not going to sit next to XYZ manufacturer. I mean, I don't think any of that happens at a NADRA meeting.
For sure.
So it's all for the greater good,
Awesome. And you guys are so active there, I think more so than in the rest of the country.
And look, I would love to, it would be great to see other regional markets develop, but it takes a handful of people, right, to really band together to do it. So we'll see, see what emerges over the next year and where we go.
Yep.
But when I'm out there, like I was up in New England over the last couple of days talking all about NADRA, right? And so there's definitely an opportunity to create more awareness all over the place with NADRA. And, it's a great platform.
Yep. So North American Deck and Railing Association, if you're not on the end, get on the end. I love it. Well, Lainie, thank you again. It was really great to have you. Please do connect with her. LinkedIn primarily is the best, you said?
LinkedIn is the best. And, I'm out in the market. Obviously, I'm a big decking guru, but I do represent Moisture Shield, RDI, Bread Outdoor Living products. So if I can help anybody out there with any of those products, please let me know. And or any other questions you might have about the industry.
Sure. So great. And that's what makes you so beautiful. I love it. Thank you.
Well,
so,
thank you.
Yeah, for sure. Thanks for sharing your insights with us. And to all of our listeners, make sure to tune in for the next episode. And as always, keep moving forward. Thanks so much.
Hit subscribe and give us your thoughts. We love hearing from you. Ready to level up your business? Visit deckbuildermarketers.com. Check out our services and let's build your success together. Don't forget to download our free guides. They're a game changer. Thanks for tuning in to We Love Deck Builders and see you on the next episode.